everybody agreed on what it looked like.
Right.
We could just,
Right.
Yeah, it'd be nice to figure out a way to streamline some activities, sure.
well, and you could, the way it, in my opinion, the way it should work is before the meeting, somebody has an idea, they get with me, this is my idea, then I work in the background with the attorney or whoever. Get back on the agenda.
All right, I would like to call to order the meeting of the Perkins Public Library Trust. Roll call, please.
All right, so Brian Huckabee,
Here.
Linda Barta,
Here.
and Melissa Mills.
Here.
And Charlotte Perrick and Valerie Hill are absent today.
Thank you. All right, question or item number 2, consideration and action on consent agenda. A, approval of minutes from the June 1st, 2023 regular meeting. B, approval of financial reports. Okay, I see we're going into a new fiscal year, of course. I have one question. The carryover prior year surplus, is that how it's carried over?
Yes.
Okay, so is it not the 47? Am I not reading that right?
Well, I think for us to talk about it, I think we have to remove it from the consent.
Yeah, make a motion to remove
Yeah,
item
then we
B.
can.
Okay,
You need a motion to remove item B and then a motion to approve item A.
all right. Do I have a motion to approve item A?
I make a motion to remove B and approve A.
Do I have a second?
I second that.
All right, roll call?
All right, Brian,
Yeah.
Linda,
Yes.
and Melissa.
Yes.
All right. On removal of the financial report, I do have a question. I'm trying to follow the fiscal calendar year from last year to this year. And when you go to the bottom line, it looked like we should be carrying over more than that. Is that not correct?
So it looks like it's carrying that the column that says balance.
Balance, that's what
not
I'm
the one
thinking.
that says difference.
Right, but then if we're carrying that over, that's not even the same number. Even
Is
if
it-
it's, even if
Subtract
it's
the
for
40,
budget.
if we subtract that, is it?
Because but that's a percent.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
That wouldn't make sense to me either.
But it's not a percentage. What does percent even mean? What does that column
The
mean?
percent of the budget that's been expended.
Oh,
I can help you with that one.
so that's saying 45.59% of the budget has been expended?
That was for that
Yes.
was for the calendar year of last
On
year.
expenses.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
Are you able to come to the meeting to answer a question about the
Financials.
revenue expense reports or not?
Okay, so,
Where is that?
see, and I had a question about that too, because I'm like,
There's
okay,
capital improvements from the city that they put in.
They put in.
And
but I don't see the 50,000.
So total budget, so that was what we started with,
Right.
beginning of the year. And
I
year-to-date
find
balance,
that
what's the
that's
28,000 mean?
Right.
What does that mean?
So
the-
that's what was spent.
Was spent.
Rachel's gonna come over, but you start out with a total budget,
Right.
and then you have a year-to-date balance, and then you open a PO, and then your balance with the PO is what's
Was
left.
actually spent.
No, that's what's left in the line item.
Oh, okay.
So that's your balance, I believe that's your balance.
To carry over.
No, that's your balance, because you do a PO, so if you started out with your 23,548.
Yes.
That doesn't make sense either, because it adds those two together.
My numbers aren't matching.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm not seeing the T-Mobile coming in.
T-Mobile, I believe, because that's on my
T-
regular, yeah. Because I've seen that one in my regular library report file.
Oh, was it given to the trust or to the library? Where did the T-Mobile money go?
Because it was a grant.
To
The
who?
city of Perkins applied for the
Yeah.
T-Mobile grant,
So it won't be on here.
On here.
Okay, gotcha.
So can you ask your question again?
Okay, my question was, the number with, what was the difference is not matching the prior year's surplus. And so I'm not seeing how that number
And
matches.
that number doesn't match either.
Well, the prior year surplus is not put in, that's a budgeted number.
Gotcha.
So that
The new
just
year.
says what year,
This is 2024.
So which one are we looking at?
I am-
June or July?
Okay.
At the very top, calendar 7 or calendar 6?
Well, one was ending that fiscal year through 12/23. And the other one is starting our fiscal year of July this year.
Right, so I think the confusion is that it's a budgeted number.
Uh-huh,
So when we created the budget.
Right.
Last year, on the one that says calendar 6, 2023,
yes,
that's the number that was available in the bank
gotcha.
as of June 30th, 2023.
Okay.
Okay, so then I had to estimate, because I create the budget in February and March. So when you're looking at July 2023,
That was an estimate of what was gonna be left based on the expenses that were planned.
The POs hadn't come out. Okay,
so that 38 is not a real,
Or 36, excuse me, it's not correct, because I don't know, I mean, until I get bank statements from June 30th, which is what we're working on now, I'm not gonna for sure know what's in the bank, so there will be a budget amendment.
Oh, gotcha.
That will fix that.
Gotcha.
But I have to just look at what I think we're gonna spend, look at what's in the bank, and take a guess.
so that's what that July.
And you're usually probably pretty conservative on that. You
Well,
want to,
because, yeah, I try to look at everything that's purchase ordered, I try to look at like what's OG&E gonna be, so that number is always.
so that number should be 36.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that makes sense.
yeah, exactly. Okay, that
And
helps.
there could be a treasurer's report done that would give the trust cash.
But then you have to remember that you have to subtract out any purchase orders.
But I mean, if, that's how you get your cash in the bank is in the treasurer's report. This is the budget. The budget, we'll figure the budget for the whole year, but it's not there, like the income, you know what I mean?
Right.
So the T-Mobile money then, do we worry about even transferring it in to this account?
I don't think you can because it was awarded to the city.
Trust is still a city entity, is that too gray of an area to move it to another city account?
Well, it's city, but it's not. It's a totally separate trust. So it's a different entity.
So when decisions are made to spend that money, it's not up to us, it's up to the city commission?
It would be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
We would advise them, hopefully,
Yeah.
and they would listen to us, right? Is that the way that works?
well, the grant, it's restricted money. It can't be spent for anything else or somebody goes to jail.
Yeah,
And the grant was received for the new library building.
right.
So it's just, when you get to that point or whatever, we want to spend this much money, we just take it to the city commission. Potentially, if it's under 25,000, then I can probably just do it with a signature. Because that's my spending limit without commission approval.
Well, but remember, it's a public, Tammy just sent that email about it being a public improvement, so it has to be on the agenda. She just sent it today.
Okay, well, whatever. But they would go with what you said. I don't know why they wouldn't. It's not like they can buy a police car with it. I mean, they can, they just go to jail. I mean, I guess anybody can do anything. I wouldn't advise them.
So we need to put the financial report back on.
You can just make a motion to approve it.
All right, do I have a motion to approve the financial report?
I motion.
Second.
Tammy's wrong.
The first and second, roll call, please.
Give me 1 second, sorry. Who
Oh,
made
sorry.
the motion?
I did.
Melissa?
Brian seconded.
Brian second.
Am I good?
Yes, thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
To approve. All right, then Melissa
Yes.
and Brian
Yep.
and Linda.
Yes. All right, item number 3, consideration of items removed from consent agenda. We already took care of that. Item 4, public appearances, petitions, communications, and personal appearances. I don't think we have any today. Item 5, consideration, discussion, and possible action to elect a chair.
I make a motion that we leave things intact the way they are.
We just did
Re-elect.
it.
Yeah.
But we just did it because we were so far behind
Right.
doing it, but now we're doing it at a regularly scheduled interval. It just happens to be close to our makeup session, so I make a motion we leave
I have a first. Do I have a second?
things intact.
All right.
How do you feel
Takes
about
care
it,
of
Linda?
5 and 6.
Okay. If y'all will muddle through with me, I'm good.
Great.
Item 6.
Then Brian,
Yes.
Melissa,
Yes.
and Linda.
Yes.
You can say no if you feel.
All right. Number,
Doesn't do any good that she's outvoted.
I know.
Right.
Number 6, consideration, discussion, and possible action to elect a vice chair. I make a motion, we keep it the same.
Second.
Who do I put? What here?
Melissa.
Who was the second? Melissa, you seconded last time. Brian, do you want to this time?
Sure, I'm easy.
Trade.
All right, now remind me because my brain is fried. Who is the chair at the moment?
I'm the chair, Melissa's
Or not
the vice
You're vice
chair.
Okay, I
Vice chair.
just wanted to make double sure.
And so then that term
Yes.
would end, is it? a
1 year.
1
Yep,
year?
you have 1 year.
Okay, 1 year, okay.
All right, roll call.
All right, then who did I start? Linda,
Yes.
and then Brian, and Melissa.
Yes.
All right.
All right, item number 7, consideration and discussion regarding update from Brian Huckabee on the progress of the new library project.
Some of this we will probably cover in a few other items, but I've got, working to get quotes on the concrete demo so we can get that stuff out of the way.
Got it.
Zach at the co-op, I met with him, looking at the little building to the south of Domino Parlor.
Yes.
They have somebody under contract to tear that down. They had a dumpster, looked like they started interior demo. They haven't started exterior demo. We're gonna tear that building down. So it looks like it's not connected to our building other than buckets and buckets of old mastic put up there to try to seal their roof and our wall. So I just asked them to be careful. Cut the roof line before the whole thing falls and tries to pull. So I think they're gonna be conscious of that and try not to do any damage. So, but once that building's down, we're still gonna be something there to deal with. I think there's old plaster that's still underneath their wall and plastic that's stuck there. So there's gonna be some new stuff to deal with. As soon as their demo's done, then we can talk about painting the south wall that we have planned. Just do the whole thing, job. When I was talking to Zach, I was talking to him about that concrete demo. He said if we get the demo done, he would use his equipment to load the concrete in Ryder's truck. And her husband's already talked to Ryder about hauling it off.
And they're good with that.
So all we're gonna do is get the demo done and piled up and then we're
Ready to load.
Is
now.
there some pumpkin people?
We've got volunteers to get that part done for free. Signage we'll get to here in a minute. Bob, is this time to talk about architect crapping out or?
I think you can, it has to do with the progress, yeah.
I think that'll be best fit.
Well, we voted to
Oh, we.
proceed with the architect on final plans and contract attorney, so who's right or who's wrong, we, at this moment, don't have, need to plow ahead. So we, I guess, are gonna have to drop back and think about whether we gotta find somebody else to do it. Because Bob, I don't think there's any even any new way to get city attorney off.
No, it had to do with the liability.
uh,
I think he wasn't accepting any liability.
Well, he has
Or
all,
something like
yeah,
that.
he has all the insurance. It was the indemnification clause is
Yeah.
pretty wordy and,
Yeah, she said that's an absolute no-go.
So even though the building has been certified by the engineer previously, that still have to have that from the architect?
Yeah, we want him to indemnify us against, basically you indemnify each other, so you're both responsible for your stuff. And he has an issue with that for whatever, I don't know. His attorney, I'm sure.
yeah. And I think he's used to just seeing simpler language in contracts, just one-page agreements for architectural services, and it's a little beyond what he's used to seeing.
Yeah, we're definitely past that point.
So I can't say I agree with him on it. So that leaves us without an architect. There's a few details outside I was hoping to get professional input on. I still can from other builders and peers, so we can still plow ahead with some of that. It's just us taking a few design aspects on ourselves instead of hiring a professional.
So do we have enough to put out bids for that outside using that T-Mobile grant? Or is that something the city would have to do since it's coming out of their account?
I think we would probably we wouldn't have to go out to bid because it's under 100,000. We would get quotes. But I think you guys could get the quotes and then recommend
Yeah.
to the city commission that we do this.
Well, in the first round with architect, that's kind of what we had him focusing on was the brick and ephes. So we have 90% of that detailed. Just a few things like the roof on the backside, that rotten wood that wasn't replaced when they did the roof. That needs addressed this go around. So a new cat flashing on the north wall. So there's a few little things there that I can work in and do some sketches and put together our own bid package like we did on the windows. So we're not dead in the water. I still like the idea of taking the easy way out and spending some money and getting a full set of detailed plans, but it was still 11,000 plus. So I guess on the bright side, we're saving $11,000 if we spend a little more time on it. So the plumber, I met him down there, Rudy Mandeville with Cimarron Mechanical. He previously said he'd do the plumbing at cost. When I met him down here this weekend, he said he'll do it for free, the fixtures, so he'll do the excavation outside, run sewer, water, possibly even gas line, just in case we think we want it for future. And inside the building, we'll have to do the concrete demo.
Channeling.
Widen out one existing trench, cut a few others out. So we might be able to get some volunteers and maybe somebody like Lightfoot, who I think has raised his hand before. He'll come do the saw cut and demo for us and then pour it back once Rudy's got all the interior plumbing moved in. So Rudy's on board, and I've got plans to get up heat and air and electrical guys and see if they're gonna maybe pull a Rudy and
Help out.
sweeten the deal a little bit for us. So every portion of work that we have budgeted is under 100. So we still are gonna get quotes, but then that alleviates. I mean, if we have a heat and air guy whose sticker price is 85,000 and he says I'll donate X amount and get 65, then it makes it a pretty easy decision.
Get it.
As long as we have the cash to take out the sidewalk in the back of the building. Some of the paving back there too, so we can grade it to drain. So we do other improvements back there.
We do have an agenda item for that down the road, if that helps.
Yeah, I knew I'd be doubling up a little bit, but anything else on library progress? So if they get the building on the south down, we can bid that out. I mean, we get the south wall taken care of.
Any other discussion? All right, item 8, consideration, discussion, and possible action regarding library signage. All right, we have a handout of what was proposed.
I think this guy's on vacation because I hit him up to give us other options.
Yeah,
Even though I'm not worried about other options, because I think we all like them.
I liked this.
Now, we talked a little bit, and you know, I was gone at the last meeting, so I don't know, but about what to put behind is, you know, what do we do behind the letters? Because I think this is just to purchase the letters, is that correct? Or is it letters and installation?
Yeah, it's letters and installation.
Okay,
Yeah, I think might have been the last meeting, one time we talked about painting the surface behind it to match the cast stone on the front of the building. It's just kind of that light creamy color. I drove by today when the front of the building, they kind of coated this, but that top, we still need that color to match. Yeah, those reveals are not covered in the cost.
There's like these caps here too that aren't showing real.
So that background, we need to get some volunteer labor or something. Jump up there on ladders and paint those.
okay. That would take a couple of hours, and I don't think that's a big deal, right?
So for $3,060, we get custom made installation.
I think it looks good. I think the aluminum letters are the way to go.
So
I make a
And then
motion.
if we needed to repaint behind the letters,
Yeah.
we could remove them and repaint. I mean, I don't know what the installation looks like.
it's kind of a concealed stud mount, so it's kind of hard to get them off. So if you repaint, somebody just has to be careful.
Paint around it, paint it, yeah.
They're kind of offset.
Offset a little bit so you can kind of get behind them a little bit. Okay.
All right, I make a motion, we accept the library signage as printed for us.
Second.
Pursuant to an agreement.
Right,
You might just, add that.
we have the contract.
Yeah, and one other thing, there is no permit, so the $150, he shouldn't charge you that.
Oh, it's fine.
Set off.
I see that down there.
So I need to pull contract.
I'll get with the attorney to find out.
If she has a boilerplate, I can pre-fill stuff, send to her. If she approves it, then I'll send back to the subcontractor. Get it signed and send back.
Now, he is talking about a deposit. We can't do that. But if we give him a copy of a PO,
Now, he'll
I
be
mean,
fine.
it's
He'll be fine.
a
I've
done deal.
done a few jobs with him, and they know me.
I mean, I understand not wanting to have Perkins library closed in your shop forever.
So I have a motion, but do I have a second?
Yeah.
Oh, listen.
A second.
Oh, okay, I'm so sorry. All right, then Linda?
Yes.
Melissa?
Yes.
And Ryan?
Yes.
All right, item 9, consideration and discussion regarding establishing levels of sponsorship and associated benefits.
I've never been a proponent for levels of sponsorship necessarily. Where you have gold, silver, bronze, I mean, I guess in my opinion, anybody that, riders are gonna haul concrete off are just as valuable as somebody pulling out a checkbook. The value of that may not be as, monetary value may not be as worth as much, but it's still, so I'm not hung up on the levels. I am hung up on the idea of making sure that,
Donors are.
that everybody's recognized.
Yes, I agree.
So that we have a full running list of everybody who's ever given blood, sweat, tears, or cash to the project, and then we have in the fund, have a big plaque right inside the front wall that's bolted to the wall forever. It's everybody's name that's ever contributed. And not necessarily segregate by they gave more than
Levels.
they gave. Unless somebody walks in and says, here's $500,000, finish, and it's the
Right.
Joe Smith Library.
Yeah.
You know, we wasted $3,000, but new signage. But,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so
So,
That's my-
I guess the only, I agree with you in terms of recognizing people. I think the only thing about having any kind of levels is, would that encourage someone to give a little more? You know, would having some gradation, I don't know.
Well, and I'm concerned of what's been done prior to us being
Yeah,
on
yeah.
the trust.
Right, yes.
Because what was given to us as, and was even down there on that day of T-Mobile, I mean, it's showing donor levels. And so I don't know if we, you know, if this is grandfathered in, I don't know. I mean, I can't even go back and find, you know, that information from that long ago
Well, that's
to
why
know.
We know that Charlotte,
Right.
that's the only room that,
Right.
that's come after, I think her daughter's given the junk. and
Right.
Charlotte's
And Charlotte.
given, so I don't think there's any doubt we owe them that, and that one's kind of memorialized in our memories. It's,
Right.
I don't think there's any paper that says trust has done that. I guess if we come to terms with
We get a donor agreement,
the
then
new protocol,
Right.
we can go retroactively back.
and those can be on file
Okay, very good.
for whomever to later, in 15 years to
So,
go back.
one thing OSU does on their levels, and I, you know, I don't work at the foundation or anything, but they give a sticker for your car, a little car sticker, you know, and it has different colors or whatever for the different levels. Now, I'm not advocating the colors, but I do think it would be kind of cool to have some sort of sticker or some sort of gift or some sort of little thing for the Perkins Public Library. Maybe they could stick it on their car or whatever, just a, you gave, we're acknowledging that you gave. Do we have a design, I mean, have a logo? Is there a logo for the library?
Yes,
It's not,
So-
yeah.
well, Thomas Will Height has the tree, but Perkins Library, it's like, I mean, it's just words. It's like the City of Perkins
Okay.
Public Library.
So maybe there's not a nice
It's
logo.
not like a
you could,
logo.
You could stick on your
Yeah.
car. Okay. So, I don't know. But anyway, and then, you know, United Way sends out a thing, and they have printed in some sort of a brochure thing, and it'll say who gave it the different levels or whatever. And I think they have levels. But yeah, I mean, I think I agree with you that we have to be conscious of what's already been said.
Well, and it says associated benefits too, so get a special laminated library card, something.
I could look into that, but I know they did discontinue our gold cards for our kids. That's why everyone just gets a white one now.
So yeah, I'm all for basically throwing that in the trash, on a case by case. I mean, when somebody comes in and says, here's
Something really big.
15 or 20 grand, what are you gonna do for me? We'll say, well, here's a section here that's
You could have a memorial or in honorarium or
we're gonna hang
whatever.
a sign from the ceiling that says John Doe.
Do we
Juvenile
consider that work donated has a valuation, and we consider that, you know what I'm saying? So
Part of the donation.
part of the, you know, I don't know if we're keeping track of that or not, but so-and-so did such and such amount of labor, and that translates to a donation of this amount of money. I don't know. Where is the list of, I mean, do we have that somewhere? A list of people
I
that
was
have given
told
to this?
Friends has those that have donated to
To
it.
Friends.
Yes. But as far as the trust, I think we're gonna have to rely on the city to help us with that list of anybody who's been given to the trust.
Well, and then you get into the whole, well, I donated to the library through the city. I thought I was donating to the trust, yes, but if you didn't specifically write that you were
Right.
donating it to the trust, it's
It went to the city.
Right.
library fund, yeah.
Gotcha.
It's like, it gets murky.
My take is we throw the levels out and make a concerted effort to document everybody from the past and
Right.
keep that list up to date going forward. Case by case, as needed, we come up with, naming rights is not the right term anymore, memorial,
Honorarium.
honorary.
And, I mean,
And we could, I'm sorry, go ahead.
well, I guess I'm just saying, like, who's doing this work? I mean, we're talking about it, but like,
Trustees have to.
It's here.
I think
Who's
it's
the
us.
vice chair?
do that work? I mean, how do we?
So, where we're not seeing the bank statements as to who's giving, how are we supposed to compile that list?
If you, well, I guess my first thing would be if you were to study the trust indenture, you were supposed to have a list.
Gotcha.
But, and it depends on what, because people donate to the library without having the new building in mind.
Right.
They may want to donate books or
Programming, right.
whatever. So,
We need to differentiate.
So when I look at this budget expense, for instance, would it have on it if a person gave to the trust? It would be on this
it would be in donations received.
donations received. And do we have that? Do we have that on here for?
Yes.
Oh, there we
Third
go.
line down.
Donations received. So okay.
But the weird part, where this gets so muddy is there's 3 entities, and one of them has nothing to do with anything. It's a completely standalone, and that's Friends.
Yeah.
So the city has zero authority. It's just like, we have the same authority over Friends as we do your personal checkbook. None. So if somebody gives to Friends, we're not
I
gonna
don't
know.
know.
You may not know,
Right.
unless you're on the Friends board.
So if I'm looking at this, okay, because I still
you're
feel like
only-
I don't know how to read this paper here. But so when I'm looking at this, it says donations received, and then it says total budget 500. So that's just saying she's suspecting maybe 500 people, maybe $500 would be given.
We have to
We don't
put
know.
something in there,
Put
yes.
something in. And then this number here, 2,182, is that the actual amount? That's the year to date?
Which one are you, which paper?
I'm looking on the, oh shoot.
The 623.
Yeah, the 623, because the other one doesn't have anything really.
Right.
So the so if I'm looking at
So it's
this,
June, so we had $2,182 in donations
For this last year.
for the last whole year,
to the trust.
okay, so that is 1 year's worth of donations to the trust. That seems like not very much.
That's true. There hasn't, Brian may know, there hasn't been that much actually donated
Not to the trust.
cash.
You know, most of it goes to Friends, and then,
Seeing
And
what?
then,
so I think when we did the windows, we did a little bit with city money and a little bit, Friends ponied up the rest out of donations they received.
Right.
So what I think what you're trying to do, and I completely understand it, is have one place where you can look at all, like, this is how much money we have to build the library,
Right.
and I don't know how you.
there are 2
do that.
accounts,
Three
3 accounts.
3 plus undonated money that's been pledged.
Now, we can give you, we being the city, can provide you with the library budget or the whole city budget at any time you so desire. You can walk in off the street and get a copy of our budget. So we have no issue telling you what's in the library fund. And these change, your budget changes every day. as you spend money or, you know, but as far as when she did the new budget, which would be 2023.
Right.
She
She said,
estimated maybe there'll
we
be
get
$1,000 worth of
If
donations.
somebody comes in and gives 10,000, says, I want to give 10,000 to library trust, we'll just do a budget amendment, and it'll come before you, and it'll say, we want to amend the budget, and the income to
So that would just
11,000.
go, that would go in this year-to-date balance column, the 10,000 would, right? Is that?
Well, when you do the budget amendment, it would amend the first column, the total budget. And then it
But there's
would,
not really a need to do that. I mean, I don't know.
well, we would do it to bring it into the budget, because we want to bring it into the budget. Now, if you want to look at a checking account information, that's in a treasurer's report, and I can cause that to be printed for every meeting if you remind me that we need a treasurer's report. I can have the finance department, I'll say, get a treasurer's report together and put it in the
That would say
packet.
the name of the people,
No, that's going to be a bank account balance.
a bank account balance. Right.
Library trust bank account, this is your balance. And could very well, it's going to differ from your budget, because budget and cash are never they ostensibly could be the same, but chances are they're
So-
not.
Okay, so let me see if I'm understanding. So what you're saying is that this budget is pulling from 2 or 3 accounts, is what you're saying?
No, this budget is only pulling from
Only-
library trust.
Library trust account, okay,
But this budget is only a guide.
right.
And when we do the budget in January or February, to start in July, it's a guess.
Yeah,
I mean, just, you know, at home, I'm assuming I'm gonna be employed for the year and I'm gonna have this much money come in. That could change.
yeah.
Or I don't think my wife's gonna have to have another surgery, and then she does, so it messes up all the numbers. And then I go to transferring things at my house. But, so this is a guide, it's not cash.
It's just the budget.
Now, you want them to be similar, but without, friends would have to agree to show you their books.
Well, and they've shared values. I don't think we've seen their books, but every now and then, I think somebody will give us a balance that they have.
Well, and hopefully it will be such that they've kept if it was donated for the building versus
Right.
donated for programming versus.
And I can
donated-
guarantee you 100% that is done at City Hall.
Okay, good.
If somebody gives money to the library or the library trust, we are very, very specific,
About where it's going.
because it restricts the funds, and we note it, and we get audited on that. So if somebody comes in and says, I have,
We don't know what Friends is doing.
No.
they're
But,
totally,
right, and Friends is a 501c3. So most people who are giving are choosing to go that route versus the city
for taxes.
for tax purposes. Gotcha.
But that's where you lose,
The recording of it.
potentially could lose some oversight. But they may have, I don't know, they may have it in a ledger and it's all perfect. I don't know.
So,
And they probably
okay,
do,
so here's
yeah.
another question that I have, and maybe you answered this already. So I'm looking at this $2,182 that was donated to the trust in the last year. How do we figure out who gave that money? The city has it.
The city can, they can go in their finance software and pull up that line and tell me or tell you exactly
Who gave what?
$50 came from here, $50 or whatever, however it ends up to 2182.
So is that something that we can request them to get that information for the last, since 2013? And we can have that, because if we're gonna do a donation list, we're gonna need to have all that old information. We didn't know we were as responsible for that. Nobody automatically gave that to us.
I don't know,
Okay,
because we have one software system, and when we roll the year. There's probably a way to go in there historically.
Right.
And I know there's printouts that we keep for 10 years, I think.
right.
So we could probably go through those, but it would be a task. I don't think there's been very much money donated to the trust.
Okay.
Do you, Brian?
Not that I'm aware of. Like I said, it all goes to the Friends, or the grant money obviously goes to the city. And I don't think there's a problem with that, as long as you trust everybody. I mean, it's, don't
But I
think
feel
it
like.
The only thing is just getting the list.
Yeah.
But like the,
Responsible.
So it sounds like we have a window of time now where we can get maybe the
At least
people
the last
from the
few
last
years.
year, or
Yeah.
the last few years, and so we should go ahead and
I
jump
think you
on
need to
that.
talk to Friends. Somebody needs to talk to Friends to see what they have.
Okay.
Now, the T-Mobile money will be in her budget
Yes.
for the library. So within the big city budget, we have all these different accounts.
Right.
And so she'll have the library budget, and she could show that to you, or we can give you a copy of it, and you can see everything on her budget.
in this budget we have here, though, doesn't show us available cash, though.
No, it will not show available cash because you can't mix cash and budget. Because really, the goal is to have money in your bank. The goal is to spend less than you make. So you develop a cushion in your bank account versus like having a cushion in your checking account. You know I really have $1,000 more than I'm showing, but this is my budget, so I'm gonna try to work with
Does the
it.
city sweep accounts though at the end of the year sometimes, or no? Because the university does it all the time.
What do you mean?
Like if there's rollover left in your account, they'll take it.
It goes into it unless it's restricted. If it's restricted, now, generally what happens is they're very good about tracking, and I'm kind of, well, I'm really serious about it. I don't want to because what that creates is that 2 months before the end of the fiscal year, we got to buy something.
Everybody's
I don't care
spending.
what it is.
Well, yeah, that's how it is at the university.
That's what I don't want to happen. So I want, if they didn't spend all their money, they may not get that money, but we're gonna kind of follow it. So we don't, everything zeroes out on the budget,
Yeah.
but it's not.
Maybe a cushion somewhere.
Yes, and it's, but that's also how you budget for a need. You know, if she runs out of money, and then we know, well, she needs more money because this happened. So we try to build on that each year. So it may not be the same dollars, because the other thing that's almost never possible, nobody should ever spend all of their money in the budget. Every department's not gonna spend all their money. So at the end of the year, that's where prior year carry forward comes
Right.
in. Because you build the budget, and we have to have a balanced budget. So we may show more expenses than we think we're gonna bring in, but then we put that prior year carry forward number in there to balance the budget. And we have that money.
So I guess going forward, we need to have a
Treasurer, we need a
available cash
treasurer
for our
report.
account, and accounting of what Jennifer has in the library account that's earmarked for the building, like the T-Mobile.
And we can give you that information, and we obviously will, but you have no authority as a trust over that money.
Oh, yeah.
Well, with the exception of like the T-Mobile grant, because
That's all I'm getting at.
Yeah.
So really, if we have accounting of available cash we have in the trust account, we know we have 50 there, there may be.
there's no reason you can't have
Any
that.
other money that hits that, and then if Friends shares with us what they have available for the building, because they're not gonna spend every penny they get just on the new building. Some of it comes over here for programs, so we kinda gotta have 3 line items plus pledged money. So we kinda need to build our own little sheet, because our available cash doesn't change much, because we don't have a lot of expenses out of this account.
Yeah, there's not much movement.
Yeah.
Either way.
If we have that available cash, we knew that number today.
Right.
And wrote it down each month, we could look at the budget and say, oh, we spent so much on insurance, so much on this. We can just do the math in our head or on our own little spreadsheet,
Right.
keep track of available cash
Yeah.
and add it to the other monies we know exist.
Right.
And a total to operate with. So,
Okay. We gotta, figure out this idea, list of donors, start on that.
How many people do you think have donated money? I don't
Well, and
know.
it's not all donated, because I
I mean, I
know,
know there's several that in memorials, like when they passed away in the like paper, that it would say, please give to Friends of the Library in memorial of so-and-so towards the new library building.
See, and I would have no idea.
And see, and I know of at least 4 I've given to them. Come in and like handed a check and said Friends of the Library memorial donation. They wanted it towards the new building.
there's that, and then there's also the ropers and people like that that have shown up and
Yeah, helped clean
done a lot of
or
work. at it and
scrape
stuff
or,
like that.
yeah.
So we need to catch all those people and try to start building that list,
Okay.
pass it around and get everybody's input on them.
Well, Jeannie Adams used to be the treasurer on Friends, and I can talk to her, and I know they kept stuff on QuickBooks at the time. So hopefully she's got a fairly good list. And then we'll work on I'll try to go into the city and talk to them and see if we can get at least the last several years, so that we at least know.
We can make a note
Yeah.
for Jennifer.
All right.
and I
It's
already on here.
And you might
Thank you.
make a note if you didn't already, to get some online.
Because I don't mind keeping a running list
Since last year.
if we're aware.
That's the verbiage one.
And if we update it every month, when we meet and we talk, and we're like,
Yeah.
oh, I know this happened, or whatever.
Who's done what, and let's add them to the list.
We just
Exactly.
have a one-page simple spreadsheet that.
Right, exactly.
is ours that we just track.
Yeah,
all
and share.
And then in the meantime, we need to get a copy of that document.
We can email the trust indenture, the document that created the library trust.
We can have discussions on future amendments to it if.
I would like to, though, make note that any of these that are out there, hold this.
Well,
And
they've already been pulled for a while.
okay,
Yeah.
well, they were all down there on that T-Mobile day.
Yeah.
So I'm like, we need to,
Old
Since
news.
then, it's been pulled since we realized that stack had them. But
Okay.
none of them that are out there have that.
okay, very good, thank you. All right, number 10, consideration and discussion regarding naming rights at the Storytime Room.
Yeah, honorary.
Are we saying honorary naming rights or just?
Honorarium.
Honorarium.
And then there'll be a donation agreement. For the purposes of, there's no action on this because we don't have the agreement completed,
Okay,
because the attorney has been out of town. But you could talk about a prospective donor that you want to honor, and they want to give a donation of whatever it is.
And we take action on it
Next
go.
meeting or something, I'll work in the background to get all that stuff together so we can bring it, the agreement.
Okay, then I went and met with Don Lyon, Perkins resident, his wife, Martha Hurt Lyon. He would like something named after her, in her honor in the library. And we talked about it in the past, about trying to take the story timer, because we don't have a lot of segregated spaces. So my proposal would be we take the story time room and associate that with the Herd Lion.
So how much money does he need to give to do that? Do we decide?
He is offering $20,000.
and the other room that we've already discussed is the children's room. That would be,
And I think that was done initially for 25.
okay, gotcha.
So,
It is a larger room.
she was somewhat of an educator. I don't remember her exact background, but he was an Air Force colonel, and they traveled the whole. Stories about every time they go somewhere, he'd have Air Force buddies that couldn't read. She was always teaching, and I think she was a school teacher at some point too. I can't remember. My memory's not that great, but she sounded like she was quite an educator and led a heck of a life. He's a neat guy. I want to go back and just hear his stories.
So what was the name?
Martha Hurt Lyons. His name is Dawn.
L-I-O-N?
Lyons.
So if we were taking action, then I would take action and carry on.
Well, this is just consideration and discussion, so.
I know, I'm just telling you my thought on that.
Oh, yes.
And a side note, he was, I guess, wanting to do this sooner. His wife passed away about 2 months ago. So, but he is still dead set on.
Good.
So we will table that till next meeting.
Okay.
Have our ducks in a row and possibly take action on it.
Very good.
That will also help with tracking.
Yeah.
All right, number 11, consideration.
Have we approved the naming of the other room, the children's room? Have we?
Well, I would propose we, on the next agenda, we put both
those
those
two
rooms retroactively, take the children's room and officially give it Eric name.
I'd like that too. It
If
needs
we're
to be
making
done.
one agreement, make two and have them both caught up and have something in place to do the rest of it.
All right. Number 11, consideration, discussion, and possible action regarding next steps of the new library renovations.
Well, I've talked about some of it, and some of it's still on the following agenda. I think that the actions I need to take, I guess, in lieu of having an architect, is work out details for the back wall and side wall, cap flashing, fascia, and then workday.
Those are both on that.
All three walls need some attention that we could give it for free and get those closer to being ready to finish it on.
Do you want to do a work day? Or it's on there later?
So that's next steps. The concrete we talked about, utilities we talked about, exterior wall finishes, and demo on that south building. We did carry on with that wall.
All right, so there's no action on that today.
And then, I guess along that same line though, I was down there today looking around, and the idea came up, instead of furring out the inside walls, leave them, at least some of them exposed. Which I've never really thought about, because that clay tile stuff's not the prettiest. It's not as pretty as old face brick.
It's pretty rough.
So I like it on one hand, but then you still have to dress that wall up a little bit, fill holes, but then you gotta put more insulation on the outside of the wall.
Outside.
Instead of having an inch or inch and a half foam, then you got big massive foam. So I thought I'd bring it up if anybody wants to kick that one around. I'd is still fur out the inside walls and foam the heck out of the whole thing.
Well, that's going to probably seal things up the best.
Yeah.
My concern, I mean, I kind of like the rustic of it, but I don't think long-term that's the way to go. And especially for a modern library, I think we need to bring it into.
Somebody could damage those.
I was gonna say, I'd
towers.
see one kid leaning up against it, breaking it, finding out, oh, we can do more.
Yeah.
There,
This is fun.
And I was standing there thinking too about just trying to hang stuff on that wall.
Right.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it'd be a nightmare.
I do too.
I think if we wanted to take one little section somewhere and say, here's, leave a 10 by 10 area, if it fits in the master plan.
Right.
And leave it as is, for historical purposes, but otherwise, I think we go back to plan A.
Yeah. I agree.
Anything else on next steps?
Number 12, consideration, discussion, and possible action concerning demolition of west concrete slab.
So I got a price today of $5,275
To just break it up. Leave it there, but break it all up.
break it up and pile it, get the
Pile it.
earth out of the way.
Gotcha.
Take the sidewalk off the back of the building, take that leaning wall down that's over there on the property line,
Yes.
tree stumps, all that stuff,
Gotcha.
and grade it so it drains from the building to the alley.
Holly.
And then we would put concrete back there, or no? It would just be,
There's no immediate plan to put anything there. I think there was previous plans to have a little courtyard thing back there, something cute. still do that, but
Right now, it's
right
not
now we need
required.
all the ugly out of the way so we can get utilities in and get the exterior walls done. We can drop back and come up with a plan to
Something out there.
Something else out.
do something cute or add parking or.
Do you have a quote, a written quote on that?
I can send one if I need to, but I've got, that 5275 is from the company I work for, in full disclosure. I did try to get a concrete guy last week, and he came up with 13,500. Autumn was still here, she tried to get her uncle to do that same chunk of ground, and it was like 15 grand. So we tried to get volunteers. Roper tried with his
Right.
equipment, so
Steve did too.
we're kind of exhausted it all. So I think it's a fair price, and I'm not going to make a motion. Like I explained to Bob, it's a company I work for, so I'm afraid the attorney might have.
Well, you might have somebody else make the motion if they want to, and if you do make a motion to approve, I would make a motion to approve pursuant to agreeable contract with the city attorney. And then that'll give her authority to,
Well, it seems to me like we have money to spend to be able to get this done. And to me, I think it looks good for the public to see progress being made. And so
I do too.
I motion that we approve that pursuant to an agreeable contract with the city.
I second.
All right, Melissa,
Yes.
Linda,
Yes.
and Brian.
and if you could get something just on their letterhead, that estimate or whatever,
I'll do that.
shoot it to me.
All right, number 13, consideration, discussion, and possible action to select a work date in July of 2023. We know we're gonna be dealing with heat, so we're gonna need to pick a early morning.
Is this workday related to this concrete work, or is this workday something separate?
It's not related to concrete work. There's a little bit of trash left.
Inside.
Co-op came and got everything they knew was theirs. Between the concrete slab and that metal building, there's still a pile of stuff that I had to throw it all away. There's still conduit on the outside wall, metal signboard on the outside wall, just random stuff like that. Inside the building, there's still half that little bathroom enclosure that still needs demoed. Trash just laying around inside the building. So.
How many, so if you had 10 people, how many hours do you think that would be? A couple hours?
I bet half a day. Knock that out pretty quick. And full of ladders. And if we did the work day, we could put the paint in with it. We have
Yeah.
extra
And if somebody could help with painting the front, yeah.
Get it painted, pull everything off the outside, down
Right.
the inside. We want to get a dumpster. I think in the past, we called City Hall and somebody ordered it. Is that still doable?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Okay.
So, I'm able and willing. Can't do it this weekend, but other than that,
My Saturdays are open.
This weekend for me is full, but I'm available like from here on.
Well, and I think we've been over this in the past. I guess if we make it a big deal here, then it's like a meeting of sorts. Weekend.
Oh.
We can all be there to work, we just can't discuss business, correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You can't discuss or conduct any business.
Right.
So I think the 15th
15th.
would work. That would be the only one I'd be available for, but it's not all about me, but
Say, let's shoot 15th.
Uh-huh. Start at 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock, tell me what time.
I'll come check on you about 10.
Thanks.
No, I'd say 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock.
Let's do 8. There's already a couple ladders there I can bring. 6-inch ladder and a 6-foot ladder. Truck full of hand tools.
so I think if we're gonna do this, we need to put it out on Facebook or whatever. Come at this time, here are the materials we need to bring. So let's work that out now. What would that message say? So come at 7 a.m.
8.
8,
Start at 8.
and I'll bring donuts. Or something,
A cooler of water.
Hammer, a bar, a little bit of demo inside to do it.
Brooms, like shop vac brooms, that wood that's still in there, we still need to kind of save it. It's stacked up.
It's there.
I can bring some trash bags.
There's a big pile that just cut off. The 6 is
Oh,
left.
gotcha. Yeah, those can go, but that's stacked up with those wider ones that they thought that might could be used with some frames or things like that.
We'd still pick through that. If we get too many people, we'll have them sit down and pull nails out of the wood we're saving.
Okay, gotcha.
So,
All right, so,
So, do you not want to make a Facebook post then and try to keep it
well, I
small?
hate to have 30 people show up and then it's chaos and there's not enough for everybody to do. So,
gotcha.
need to be more invite any people you know or people in one and stop when we hit 8 or 10 people.
Well, maybe we put it out to like library board, friends of the library, and kind of see what our numbers are and then go from there. And just say, we're looking for some able-bodied individuals to come and help. Because if you show up and there's 30 women there to help you,
I'm going home.
you might fold on
You
me.
can't go home. We'll hold you down.
If, what size dumpster are you thinking?
Man, there's not just a huge amount of trash.
Because the smallest roll-off Davis has is 30,
30.
which is big. I didn't know if I could.
Really, you just need like someone that has a dump trailer that can take it to the dump or something. I don't know.
That would probably be cheaper than a 30-yard dumpster. I mean, really.
What's Davis charging for those? It'd be like $450, wouldn't it?
It might be 600, I think.
Yeah, we may rethink that.
I don't remember which.
Well, I was saying if this is in conjunction with the demoing of the concrete and we had a dumpster, we could put all that stuff in the dumpster.
They usually segregate those
They
two.
don't.
They do have concrete dumpsters, but that's all they want in them.
Oh, I see.
And it has to be all
Mix.
separate.
Well, the concrete's gonna be hauled off.
Separately that's already done
Drivers
deal. Okay.
Fill land with it.
We need to talk to Zach. If they're doing demo on the barber shop, we don't really have a whole lot there.
I just throw it in there.
Pile it up, take it around there. Zach might come get it for us if we just have a pile of it.
So do they have a dumpster out there for that?
They did this past week.
Oh,
I
gotcha.
went by today and it's gone.
No, it is gone.
But I'm guessing I'll have one back to do the building demo. So,
Okay. Check with Zach. Okay, I could do that. I'll call him tomorrow.
if that doesn't work, I do have a dump trailer I could borrow. We can unload it up. All right, so July 15th.
Okay, I need a motion on it.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Once again. All right, Brian?
Yes.
Linda?
Yes.
And Melissa? Yes.
All right, item 14, consideration and discussion regarding grant opportunities, which the next one is really the one I want to talk about, so.
I'm going to throw it in there just in case we found anything else. that we
Unless
haven't.
somebody knows of another one we need to discuss.
Well, while we're on that one, you haven't heard anything out of Kubota or Lowe's?
Lowe's did not get funded. I checked it today.
I
There were
haven't
only,
religiously
there
checked
were
it.
only 2 Oklahoma entities that actually got Lowe's. One was out of Oklahoma City that was for, I think it was for like a food bank. And the other one was Drummond Historical Society from Drummond, Oklahoma, for on a historic building that had already been put on the register. So, but those were the only two in Oklahoma that were given. But I pulled them up today because I thought they should have that list by now, and so I pulled it up to look, but those were the only two in Oklahoma that were funded, so we didn't know about 100,000.
Any kind of notification at all? I check spam all the time and everything.
And Lowe's never said anything.
Nothing.
Gotcha. The Kubota, we should not hear until the end of July, 1st of August. 1st of August is when they submit the 5, and you've got the voting to try to get another
So we
100,000.
still got a chance on.
So we still have a chance on that one. Do know that.
I hope we get it. I want to have that little bookmobile. That'd be so fun.
All right, item 15, consideration, discussion, and possible action regarding the Central Community Foundation grant application. CREC has done a foundation grant for the last several years. Being that we did not get the university community federal for the security door, we thought we would rewrite it for the CREC Foundation, which is the Central Community Foundation grant application. And it can go up to $10,000. And so we'll put that door on there, and then we'll put some plumbing fixtures and things on it that could potentially help us get some things into that building once Rudy's able to run some things in there.
We talked about even the concrete demo.
We did.
We can roll that into that door cost.
Well, and I could do that, but we've already approved that concrete demo, so I don't think I can now. Can I?
This is just a grant to cover.
To cover the cost?
So
Okay.
I'm just saying if you.
And we could, because that would be about the right amount.
I just max out that 1,000 and shoot it off and see if we get lucky.
Yeah. Now, this will need to be submitted by the city or by Friends, because it either has to be, you have to turn in that EIN number, or you have to do a 501c3. So the trust, again, can't make the, application for grant. We can approve the that we apply for it, but we're gonna have to have them go through the process of applying for it.
What does that one do?
And it's due July 15th.
Dave?
Yeah. So,
And are
Who
you,
needs to apply for it?
Friends or the city?
Oh, okay.
Because it's, they need
Well,
that.
we have a meeting Tuesday, city commission, so we could,
have it on there.
if we need to even have the application on there, maybe, yeah, but we could have it on there if we needed to have it on there. If you wanted the city to do it, if you want Friends to do it. That's,
Doesn't matter. Okay. All right. Well, I would like to make a motion that we go ahead and take action on that Central Community Foundation.
So when we say we're taking action, like who's doing it?
Yeah, who's doing it?
You? Or?
Well, in the past, as far as the grant writing has been done, since we used the grant writer last fall, Ryan, Jennifer, and I have done the grant writing
Yeah.
and the submitting.
you came down one time.
Yeah, so what we have done is we take the narrative that we've got, that we were able to get the T-Mobile grant with,
Yeah.
and condense it down to fit the forms that need to be submitted. And then we all kind of look them over, and then
So
if the
if we're
city's
gonna
doing
do-
it, we'll just shoot it to Jennifer, she'll fill in the blanks and submit it, because it's a short one, it's a lot like that university community federal credit.
I don't think we need an agenda item to apply for a grant.
Well, we have every time, so that's
Well,
why.
maybe, but I was just trying to, but nonetheless, you could do it, get it, where all she has to do is hit send.
Gotcha.
We have a meeting, hit send.
You've
Perfect.
already made progress on that. I guess you already have all the.
Yeah, I have it.
So are you
I
gonna
have
do
it
it?
ready.
Is that what you're saying? You've already, okay.
I mean, you're welcome.
So this is for so this is it?
And again, I didn't know who was submitting. Does that make sense?
Because I can't submit for.
But if it's
Friends.
submitted by the city, it's submitted under her name with her information. And when Brian and I had talked previously, I had went ahead and put the concrete behind the building needs to be removed so that the utilities can be installed. And so had added that into that, what was left.
So you have this all.
Right. But we have the actual quote on this. This was what was left to get us to that 10,000.
Do we want to swing down here one evening next week and revisit that stash at that?
That's
Seems
fine.
like it's pretty well done to me. I mean,
We get enough time to make sure everything's kosher.
The city.
On the city side. Around Wednesday, Thursday, it's end.
Okay, it's due by the 15th. So, I mean, there's some time, but yeah.
So we'll
If you have it done, she could hit send during the day, that way she doesn't have to stay
well,
late.
wait, we can't have three of us together, can we?
No,
No.
you guys can, I mean, you
You
could,
two can do it and I,
they could tell,
Yeah.
you know, get the wording.
Well, if you'll just, I guess, tell us that it's kosher to do it without
Yeah.
council approval, then, yeah, she can hit
If
send.
we need council approval, she can hit send Wednesday morning.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. So do we need to take action as far as submitting for it?
You might just make a motion to recommend to the city commission
Okay,
that the library apply for that grant.
I make that motion for the city to commit, to submit for the Central Community Foundation grant, July 15th.
I'll second.
And why can't the trust apply for a grant?
It's a
You gotta have
lot of
like,
grants, yeah, you have to be a 501c3 or like the municipality has its own, like, tax number that.
We don't have
libraries
a-
separate.
We don't have an
Doesn't
EIN
have.
number.
So, oh, okay, it
The
has
trust
to
is
do
a
with the
weird-
grant,
yeah,
not,
yeah, no.
okay, yeah, okay.
And that's the way most of the grants are done, in that they want it to be either a city entity or
They
Okay.
want to make sure that money's
I just
not
wanted to make
spent
sure it
right,
wasn't
yeah.
something we.
no, no, no.
No, no, no.
All right, roll call.
And then Linda,
Yes.
Brian,
Yep.
and Melissa. Yes.
All right, number 16, consideration and discussion regarding fundraising ideas.
And we don't have to, I put that on there just in case.
Well, and again, I think we're gonna have to go through Friends on those things, so I think we just wait until we can get a Friends meeting, and I would love to be included in that when that's done, so that I can talk to them. Did you happen to talk with any of them about setting up a meeting?
A little bit, I can talk to you more after.
Okay, very good. Because Charlotte was wanting a letter put together that had been used previously, and I did work on that for Charlotte tonight, but she's not here.
I think the big thing is just getting that auto draft set up at the bank and just Facebook blast and everybody start
Yeah.
giving $20 a month.
Yeah.
I don't know how much narrative needs to go with that. Most people, if they're from town, they know.
so when we do the auto draft, so where is the money going? Is it gonna go into our account?
Friends.
It's gonna go to Friends. And that hasn't been set up yet, or that?
It is. It's ready to go.
ready? Okay,
Yeah.
I need to go do it.
It's ready to go. And what Charlotte was wanting is a letter that Friends could send out to the PT alumni and be able to at least get that information out to people that maybe don't use social media. But once Friends approves a letter, they can also approve that social media blast.
Is there a reunion weekend that, like, there?
October.
It's in October?
September, October. It's usually around All Settlers Day.
Oh, okay.
And they do the PT alumni.
Well, so part of that letter needs to say, if you don't want to do auto draft, bring your checkbook with you on a reunion.
On a reunion, yeah, we could add that, definitely. Definitely.
But it'd be good to have as much information as we can have about the progress of the library available at Old Settlers Day, so that we can have it at the building and.
It would be nice
You know
to
what
have
I
a
mean? To
booth
have
that
a booth
day.
at the building and have stuff and.
It's
I think, did
September
they do it
30th.
last year? Y'all did last year, didn't you? Did you have it open at Old Settlers?
Yeah, we had like a, yeah.
Had the building open, you could walk
Building
in.
open.
Yeah.
We had a little bake sale.
Okay.
And it's September 30th, I think.
Gotcha.
At any point in time too, we can get framing materials dropped in there and start like a showing inside too.
That'd be great.
Just, I've held off on that because it's more important to get the outside done, I think. Finish outside.
But I think if people can visibly see something going,
Work.
then they're like, oh,
I want to help. Let's get this done.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So that's maybe something to do, even if just for a show on Old Settlers Day. At our next meeting, we approve a few $1,000, and get a load of lumber dropped, and do a few
Start getting
walls,
some-
and at least have some stuff stacked up and show some motion. So,
we should have the signs done by then, the signs up by then, and
so I got two contracts to do, the sign and the demo. So I'll get those.
You'll enjoy it, I'm sure.
We do a lot of city work, like Blackwell at the fire station. Every contract I see out of every town has all the same identification stuff. Most people just skim over it and say, I
Got insurance, I'm good.
gotta do it,
Yeah,
Hopefully nothing happens and, we don't all end up in court someday
yeah,
on these contracts at each other.
yeah. But if we don't do it and we end up in court, then we look like the dumb ones.
Or if we don't do it, we don't get work, so.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, number 17, new business. If there's any new business. And then number 18, do I have a motion to adjourn? Brian?
I could second it.
All right. Let's see, what time is it? 23. All right, Brian,
Yes.
Melissa,
Yes.
and Linda.
Yes.
All right. We hit the recorder.